The Bank of England has just revealed they are working very closely with Quant on Project Rosalind, a project that is exploring the launch of a central bank digital currency. So hopping into the major news, we saw a recent panel here from the Financial Times event in which Tom Mutton from the Bank of England and Gilbert Verdian were discussing central bank digital currencies, and it was casually dropped during this panel that Gilbert Verdian and Quant were important participants in Project Rosalind. Watch the space for the Project Rosalind report coming out shortly. So this is a quote right from Tom Mutton himself from the Bank of England, essentially confirming that the Bank of England and Quant have been working very closely on a digital pound. And we broke down exactly what this means for Quant in a Twitter thread, which, by the way, if you are not following us yet on Twitter, please consider giving that page a follow. We have been ramping up the content and alpha on that page, and we drop pretty important news pretty much daily. So, Quant confirmed to be working with the Bank of International Settlements and the Bank of England on a CBDC, and this could lead trillions of dollars into the Quant overledger, which needs Quant token for account creation and transactions. Here is what you need to know. So for starters, the Bank of International Settlements is piloting a joint initiative with the Bank of England named Project Rosalind, which is looking to lay the foundation for creating and implementing CBDCs. So we can see right here on the website, it says Project Rosalind developing prototypes for an application programming interface to distribute a retail CBDC, a joint experimentation with the Bank of England. It aims to develop prototypes for an application programming interface. The objective is to explore how this interface could best enable a central bank ledger to interact with the private sector service providers to safely provision retail payments. It will also explore some of the functionalities required to enable a diverse and innovative set of use cases to be developed by the private sector. And through this experimentation, the project aims to study how best to lay the foundation for building a robust and vibrant ecosystem. So a lot of fancy jargon there, but essentially they are looking to see how they can create a CBDC and facilitate the transaction of the CBDC through the private sector, through the banking sector, as well as through the everyday retail sector. So Quant CEO Gilbert Verdian was recently on stage where it was confirmed that they are working very closely on this project. And given what Quant Overledger is capable of, it's really not a shocker to me personally that the BIS and the BOE is keen on working with Quant Network. So we can actually see here, based on exactly what Project Rosalind is all about, it involves the development of an API prototype for a consumer-focused CBDC. The objective is to enable payment service providers, not just banks, to integrate with the API to support customer access to the retail CBDC. So given that APIs are essentially integration points, the goal of Project Rosalind is to explore 5 key things: interoperability between systems and different forms of money, privacy, a token versus account-based CBDC, FAPI, which enables secure access to the API, and the ISO 22022 messaging standard. So Quant actually does fulfill all of these 5 standards here that they are looking for within the API. As we can see right here on the Quant website, Overledger APIs enable governments and institutions to connect your application to the chain of your choice and build MDApps in 12 programming languages for universal interoperability. Overledger Flows allows you to create Quant Smart tokens in under 3 minutes, and you can develop payment trials as well as issue stablecoins. So we're going to talk a little bit more in depth about why that is so important in just a couple of minutes. But first of all, here's an example of the use cases for Quant Overledger to actually tokenize different assets for governments and financial institutions to use. So you can see here it says, in any case, on any chain, robust security does not mean you are limited. Quite the opposite, Overledger offers you smart tokens that can power multiple use cases, including CBDCs, currency trials, and deployment. In terms of payments, it offers cross-border payments and next-generation payment systems via these interoperable blockchains. Capital markets, it offers alternative asset digitization, carbon credits and certificates, commercial bank tokenized deposits, and and fund tokenization, and it also offers supply chain monitoring via the blockchain. So we can see here that tokenization goes far beyond just having a CBDC. They're also talking about alternative asset tokenization. We're talking about land deeds, stocks, art, that kind of already is a thing through NFTs, but the point is you can pretty much tokenize anything and put it on the blockchain via the Quant Overledger API. And it's also worth noting that Quant Overledger supports some of the biggest blockchains. We can actually see that right here on the website, that it does have support for Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Polygon, Polkadot, XDC, and Avalanche. And you are able to connect your app to the chain of your choice and build MDApps. Now, MDApps is not a very common term in crypto, and that's because it is another Quant innovation, as MDApps are cross-platform, multi-DLT, and no longer bound to just one single blockchain. And that's a massive bull case for Quant, is that it actually looks to facilitate the interoperability of these apps on different chains. Hence, Quant is not a blockchain. The Quant Overledger is not a blockchain. It is the connector of all blockchains for these MDApps. The Quant CEO recognized very early on that multi-chain applications are going to be the future of finance, and Quant essentially aims to put itself at the middle of this by connecting all of these different chains and allowing governments and institutions to build on them. So this is huge, as the first goal listed by Project Rosalind is interoperability between systems and different forms of money, referring back to the 5 keys here. Also worth noting here that Gilbert Verdian is one of the board directors on the Digital Pound Foundation, and if the name wasn't a dead giveaway, yes, they are also working on implementing their very own digital pound here on a wide-scale launch. He does sit on the community member list here along with other big crypto names like Ripple and Avalanche. Now, taking a look at Gilbert Verdian's LinkedIn here, which for me is really one of the places I do go to quite often, because it's not only important to have the technology behind a crypto project, but also for a CEO to have the connections to actually propel this technology. The thing is, sometimes it's not even about having the best tech, it's about having the most connections, right? And that's just life. It's all about who you know. I think everyone has experienced this at one point or another. So we can see here that Gilbert Verdian, as we said, is sitting on the Digital Pound Foundation, CMO RG Cyber, the Bank of England. He also worked with the Federal Reserve System on the Fed Payments Improvement Committee and the Secure Payments Task Force, the EU Blockchain Observatory, and Forum member. So we can see he has connections to very big governments and financial institutions in the US, the UK, as well as the EU, and that's only his volunteer experience alone. If we go over to his actual work experience here, we can see that he was a security lead for the Ministry of Justice UK, security projects and programs at HSBC, CSO and deputy CTO at the HM Treasury. So a very, very impressive LinkedIn here with some very nice connections that we do want to see from the Quant CEO. Now, we got to talk more importantly about what this means for the Quant token. How does this equal price appreciation for QNT? So QNT is a utility token that is used as a form of payment for Quant network services, most notably as a way for Overledger users to pay their fees. This means that greater adoption of Overledger equals more demand for the Quant token, and this comes right from Quant's very own website. Quant is a utility token. It is used as a form of payment for Quant services, most notably as a way for Overledger users to pay their fees, as explained here. Every developer and customer has to purchase a license and can also pay for transaction fees in QNT. Would you like to list the Quant token on my crypto exchange? Thank you for your interest, but we have no interest in promoting the token as a cryptocurrency. It is a utility token for the Quant ecosystem. It is used as a form of payment for Quant services, most notably for Overledger users to pay their fees. So we can see here that Gilbert Verdian and Quant have no interest in appealing to retail. They don't care about retail. They have a much bigger agenda for this project in the form of governments and institutions, and that is very bullish because that is where the big money is. And you can see right here here, why don't you provide more information about the Quant token? We are building enterprise-grade solutions and solutions aimed at financial institutions, governments, corporates, and the partners and developers who support them. The QNT token is an integral part of our platform, used most notably to pay for software licenses and sending transaction, but it's not the focus of our efforts. So they're not concerned here about really like promoting the token, listing it on exchanges, and given the fact that there is a huge total addressable market for governments and financial institutions, plus a 14.88 mil total supply, leads me to believe that we will see a supply shock for Quant in the future. And this infographic here does a very good job in breaking down Quant's utility and the direct correlation between the use of the Quant overledger and the Quant token itself. So first of all, enterprise licenses. Quant tokens must be provided to Quant Network in exchange for an annual license. Developer licenses. Developers will be able to obtain an annual license to develop applications on Overledger through the purchase of QNT tokens. Now, both the enterprise licenses and developer licenses are fixed in fiat, not in Quant. However, it doesn't necessitate that anybody wanting to use Overledger does have to not only buy Quant, but also hold it for these annual licenses. Now, platform fees. In addition to the license fees, a platform fee calculated as a percentage of the license fee in Quant will be payable by all users and developers. Identity and account. A minimum Quant holding amount is put in place for every participant of the Overledger ecosystem, and the wallet storing Quant is essentially your identity, and your private key is your password to actually sign in to your Overledger account. Transaction processing. Quant tokens are used to validate, sign, and encrypt every transaction that flows through Overledger. Every enterprise client, developer, user, and application validator validates each transaction using their QNT linked to their account and ID. No transaction can flow through Overledger without being securely validated by Quant tokens. We also have application users here. So for those who want to hold Quant tokens to be able to run their multi-chain applications, otherwise known as MDApps, and once again, the license key will expire annually and must be renewed with more QNT tokens. Gateways and staking. This is something that has not yet been released to retail. As I said, they're not very focused on retail, but this is one thing I would like to see come in the future, hopefully. As to run a gateway, there is an annual fee fixed in fiat to be paid in Quant tokens. However, gateways also earn QNT for transaction processing, so essentially staking to support the transactions via the Quant overledger. Additional Quant tokens can be staked to increase the capacity of the gateway, and the more of the gateway operator stakes in the variable deposit, the more requests they can accept, resulting in more QNT earned. So that's the direct connection there between Quant Overledger and the Quant token itself. Once again, with a very scarce supply of 14.88 mil, I think that there is not going to be a lot of this token to go around in the future as governments and financial institutions begin to load their bags to access this technology. So on that note, if you did enjoy the content in today's video, you know what to do. If you made it all the way to the end, you are an absolute champion. Let me know in the YouTube comments down below and claim that champion status. I hope you are all having an amazing Thursday, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Peace out for now.